If entitlement had a human form, it'd be Karen from the HOA, the one who stormed into my barn. Dead. Sure, I was hiding some kind of illegal wheat, like I was running a black market bakery or something. She spotted a few yellow sacks and started hollering, "This is a serious violation." In reality, it was just dried cow dung. Not edible, not for sale, just straight up stinky. But what if I told you that this ridiculous misunderstanding kicked off a plan so perfect that the HOA wouldn't dare set foot on my property ever again? Don't look away. This story stinks worse than a pile of manure roasting under the Texas sun. Drop a comment below. What would you do if the HOA raided your barn looking for contraband grain? Name's Ezra Harrington, and about 8 months ago, I inherited my grandpa's farm out here in what used to be peaceful countryside, but now goes by Meadowbrook Estates, a place where every mailbox matches every lawn, gets measured, and even the birds look nervous. After losing my wife Sarah 2 years back in a car accident, I thought moving here would help me heal. Turns out the spot I came to mend ended up being my battlefield. Life's funny like that. My granddad used to say, "Some folks don't listen to reason. They only hear the sound of legal consequences." I was about to learn just how right he was. It's 6 a.m. on a Tuesday. I'm stacking the last of the dried manure for my garden when the barn door bursts open. No knock, nothing. There stands Cordelia Blackthorne, though everybody just calls her Karen. Crisp white pantsuit sunglasses the size of satellite dishes, and flanked by 2 HOA board members, Jim and Sandra, who look like they'd rather be at the dentist. She whips out her phone, starts recording. "I'm here to document your violation of Meadowbrook Estates, Bylaw 732, regarding unauthorized food storage and commercial activity. You'd think I was running a meth lab, not prepping fertilizer." She marched through that barn like she owned the place, pointing her manicured finger at the sacks. With the morning sun slanting through the barn slats, I could almost see how she'd mistake it for wheat if she'd never seen a farm before in her life. I took a deep breath. "Ma'am, I think there's a misunderstanding." But she was already in full Karen mode, lecturing me about property values and community standards, while Jim and Sandra looked like they wanted to disappear. "There's no misunderstanding here, Mr. Harrington," she huffed, stepping up to a sack. "These are agricultural products, commercial purposes, violations everywhere. The smell alone ruining property values." Well, I saw my moment. Without a word, I walked over, untied the nearest sack, and let that rich, pungent aroma of aged cow manure fill the air. You ever seen righteous indignation turn to nausea in real time? Cordelia nearly turned green, stumbling backward, hand over her mouth. "Still think it's wheat?" I asked, about as proud as a guy holding a bag of manure can be. She tried to keep her dignity, sputtering, "This is even worse. You're creating a public nuisance with this smell," but you could see it in her eyes. She knew she'd just embarrassed herself. Any normal person would have apologized and left. But Cordelia doubled down. "You'll be hearing from the board about this." She spat, then added something about odor regulations before beating a hasty retreat. As she left, I caught my neighbor Mabel Kowalski watching from her fence. She used to be an investigative journalist, and her raised eyebrow said she knew this was more than morning entertainment. After the HOA parade left, I just stood there, breathing in the honest stink of manure, realizing this was only round one. My granddad used to say bullies always escalate when their first shot fails. As I watched Cordelia's white SUV disappear, I realized I was about to find out just what kind of bully ran this HOA, and lucky for me, I'd had a lifetime of Grandpa's advice on how to handle Karens. The next morning, I'm at my kitchen table, coffee in hand, reading the HOA charter for the first time. Turns out a pantsuit invasion at sunrise is a hell of a motivator. The infamous Bylaw 7.32, Cordelia cited, didn't even exist. Their storage rules stopped at 728. Nothing about wheat, nothing about cow dung. Either she was bluffing or she had her own set of rules. I decided to poke around, and surprise, Cordelia Blackthorne was a piece of work. A former corporate lawyer with a record for creative litigation, obsessed with community standards, and a social media feed full of mailbox shaming and trash can police work. My research was interrupted by a knock at the door. A $500 fine for maintaining unlicensed livestock. The notice referenced Bylaw 4.71, prohibiting more than 6 chickens, which, by the way, I was under by 3. She wasn't just making mistakes. She was inventing rules and counting on nobody to check. So I grabbed my charter and headed for Mabel's place. If anyone knew what skeletons lurked in Meadowbrook's closets, it'd be her. Mabel let me in, poured the good coffee, and listened. Then she showed me a fat file of documents. She'd been tracking Cordelia's creative interpretations for years. 12 bylaws had been quietly changed, all expanding Cordelia's power to issue fines and do surprise inspections. She'd basically turned herself into the HOA dictator. Most folks just pay the fines to avoid hassle, Mabel said, but some fights are worth having. Before I could ask, my phone buzzed an anonymous threat to drop the charter investigation. Mabel just smiled. She's moving to intimidation. That's step 2. Are you ready for step 3? That day I became a minor celebrity. Cordelia posted a Facebook video, 50,000 views overnight, painting me as a dangerous grain hoarder. She cut out the manure reveal and made it look like I was hiding state secrets. The comment section exploded. Some called me an entitled city boy, others a prepper. She even attached what looked like official HOA documentation. The campaign was working. People started turning against me. That's when Tyler Chen showed up, a local blogger known for busting suburban scandals. "Got a minute for your side of the story?" he asked. Turns out he'd been tracking Cordelia for months and had heard from a mysterious source, pretty sure it was Mabel. Tyler explained first story wins on social media, but if the second one's good enough, it can flip the script. He helped me set up a live stream from my barn, walking folks through the difference between wheat and manure. People tuned in, shared the link, and the tide started to turn until my stream got cut. Facebook locked my account for inappropriate content. Instagram flagged me. Even Twitter restricted my posts. It was a coordinated blackout. Tyler was still there, and he grinned. Perfect if you want to prove a cover-up. Nothing works better than getting silenced. 3 days later, I get served a lawsuit from Cordelia for harassment, defamation, and intentional infliction of emotional distress. 50 grand plus a restraining order. Sitting there with court papers in hand, I could hear my late wife Sarah's voice asking if running away ever fixed anything. That's when I realized enough was enough. Time to fight back. Weeks before, I'd sent Cordelia a certified letter asking for the legal basis of her inspections, a legal honey trap. She never replied, a violation in itself. So Tyler and Mabel helped me stage a fake emergency HOA meeting complete with hidden cameras. We made sure the right people showed up: board members, vocal residents, even Cordelia's most loyal supporters. Cordelia strutted in, handed out her official documents, and launched into her usual speech. But Jim, a board member prepped by Mabel, asked, "When exactly were these bylaws approved?" "My copy's missing that section." Cordelia tried to bluff her way through, mumbling about emergency provisions, basically admitting she made up rules. Then Sandra, a new board member, pressed her about the fines, asking, "Where does all that money go?" Cordelia stammered about a separate enforcement account translation. She'd been funneling money without oversight. But here's where things took a wild turn. Mabel called me to her house with recordings in hand. She revealed a shoebox full of evidence from 3 years ago. Her granddaughter Emma had been sexually assaulted by the son of a wealthy HOA member. Cordelia covered it up, discredited Emma, and took hush money. Mabel had the receipts, emails, financial records, and even correspondence with the FBI. Turns out our little manure fight was nothing compared to what Cordelia had been up to. That night, FBI agents swarmed Meadowbrook. They searched Cordelia's house, seized her computer, even caught her shredding documents. By morning, Cordelia was in cuffs and Meadowbrook was headline news. Emma, finally ready to speak up, called in from Colorado during the emergency HOA meeting a week later. The room was packed, neighbors furious as Jim, now interim president, read a statement. Every fine and bylaw change under Cordelia was void. Refunds would be issued and new bylaws would be drafted with real oversight. One by one, neighbors shared their stories: petty fines, threats, even IRS intimidation. When Emma appeared on the big screen and told her story, the dam burst. People realized this had never been about lawns or property values. It was always about power and abuse. The best part: that night, neighbors held a block party in the parking lot. For the first time, Meadowbrook felt like a community again, not just a collection of scared homeowners. As we grilled burgers and watched kids play, my phone buzzed a message from an FBI agent asking if I'd consult on other cases. I couldn't help but laugh. If Grandpa could see me. Now the manure guy turned community organizer. 6 months later, Cordelia's in prison. Her son Marcus, quiet but decent volunteers at my farm, helping load up fertilizer for community gardens. Meadowbrook is thriving property values, up new leadership in place, and people finally trusting each other. Emma's in law school, Mabel's the new HOA president, Tyler's writing a book about our story, and I'm actually dating the FBI agent who cracked the case, go figure. Cordelia even wrote me a letter from prison offering to donate her house sale proceeds to help victims of abusive HOAs. It didn't undo the damage, but it was a start. Her son wants to study environmental law, inspired by everything that happened here. So yeah, sometimes the worst messes grow the most beautiful things. And if you're facing a bully, remember you're not alone. The first step is always the hardest, but once one person stands up, others will too. If this story about cow manure corruption and justice hit home, hit subscribe, give this video a thumbs up, and tell us who in your life deserves a medal for standing up to bullies. Drop their name in the comments, because sometimes the best fertilizer for justice is just a little righteous anger and a lot of persistent truth-telling.